USPAP Page 81. Advisory Opinion 94243. Standards Rule 1-3, B. When necessary for credible assignment results in developing a market value opinion, an appraiser must B. Develop an opinion of the highest and best use of the real estate. Standards Rule 1-4. In developing a real property appraisal, an appraiser must collect, verify, and analyze all information necessary for credible assignment results. 444566 and 46474849505152 Competency and related issues consistent with Standards Rule 1-1. In the appraisal of a property is impacted by environmental contamination, an appraiser must be aware of, understand, and correctly employ those recognized methods and techniques necessary to produce a credible appraisal. Accordingly, an appraiser must have the requisite knowledge about appropriate methods and be able to assemble the required information. An appraiser who lacks knowledge and experience in analyzing the impact of environmental contamination on the value of real property must take the steps necessary to complete the assignment competently, as required by the competency rule. However, an appraiser need not be an expert on the scientific aspects of environmental contamination, and in most situations the appraiser will utilize scientific and other technical data prepared by others, such as environmental engineers. In these situations, the appraiser should utilize an extraordinary assumption, see Standards Rule 1-2, F, regarding the information obtained from other experts that is used in the appraisal. Examples of such information include items 1-10 under the header titled Relevant Property Characteristics, later in this advisory opinion. This is especially important in situations where there is conflicting information about such information. 5354 555657585961 Specialized terms and definitions. The appraisal of properties that may be impacted by environmental contamination involves specialized terms and definitions that might not be used in an appraisal assignment in which the effect of the property's environmental condition is not analyzed, or when the property is not contaminated, though it is recognized that there are other valid definitions of these and similar terms for purposes of this advisory opinion. The following definitions apply. 626364 Diminution in value. Property value diminution, the difference between the unimpaired and impaired values of the property being appraised. This difference can be due to the increased risk and/or costs attributable to the property's environmental condition. Environmental contamination. Adverse environmental conditions resulting from the release of hazardous substances into the air, surface water, groundwater, or soil. Generally, the concentrations of these substances would exceed regulatory limits established by the appropriate federal, state, and/or local agencies. 6970 Environmental risk. The additional or incremental risk of investing in, financing, buying and/or owning property attributable to its environmental condition. This risk is derived from perceived uncertainties concerning 717273:1. The nature and extent of the contamination. 2. Estimates of future remediation costs and their timing. 3. Potential for changes in regulatory requirements. 4. Liabilities for cleanup, buyer, seller, third party. 5. Potential for off-site impacts. And 6. Other environmental risk factors, as may be relevant. 777 Environmental stigma. An adverse effect on property value produced by the market's perception of increased environmental risk due to contamination. See environmental risk. Impaired value. The market value of the property being appraised with full consideration of the effects of its environmental condition and the presence of environmental contamination on, adjacent to, or proximate to the property. Conceptually, this could be considered the as-is value of a contaminated property. Remediation cost. The cost to clean up, or remediate, a contaminated property to the appropriate regulatory standards. These costs can be for the cleanup of on-site contamination as well as mitigation of off-site impacts due to migrating contamination. Remediation life cycle. A cycle consisting of 3 stages of cleanup of a contaminated site, before remediation or cleanup, during remediation, and after remediation. A contaminated property's remediation life cycle stage is an important determinant of the risk associated with environmental contamination. Environmental risk can be expected to vary with the remediation life cycle stage of the property. Advisory Opinions 2018-2019 edition. The Appraisal Foundation.